Aboard the USS Stingray. Chapter 5.
Between the Confederation and the Stingray, we destroyed 6 cloaked ships. I had the sensor lab analyze the debris for anything unusual. The Nakamura sisters and Mabel reported that they found no organic debris. The only thing they found in the debris field was inorganic material, metal, plastic, insulation, and such. Carol and Joy reached out with their minds and just reinforced the sensor's findings. I thought a moment and asked, "Are there any Lebam particles in the debris?" Mabel replied,
Well, there are a few. Not any clusters that indicate a ship.
I ordered the teleporter to attempt to retrieve whatever there was where the Lebam particles were. The Nakamura sisters and I stood near the transporter platform and watched as the teleporter hummed. At the end of the teleport, I could see nothing, but when I reached out to touch whatever was there, I could feel something like flesh, dead flesh. The sisters reached out with their minds and found nothing. I called Liz Jordan to the teleporter room. "Liz, there is something here. We can't see it, but I felt it. I need to know what it is. Any ideas?" She called for 2 burly orderlies and a gurney. The guys felt around, picked up whatever it was, placed it on the gurney, and took it to sick bay. We all followed behind the orderlies to arrive in sick bay and see what Liz had in mind. Liz used a medical scanner and found the readings consistent with a dead body, but we still didn't know what it was. Liz used a fluoroscope, X-ray, CT scanner, and an MRI. The results were the same: a dead body exists, but we can only see a shadow. I called Obi to see if he had an idea. He walked into sickbay with an alternate light source and played it over the body, and we saw a man, a dead man, but still a man. Liz examined the results she had gotten, and on examining the now visible body, she determined that the man was of a race we had never encountered before, anthropomorphic, to say the least. Over many years, the human race has documented and stored the DNA of every individual born in the last 400 years. That data has been stored in Navy computers for the last 100 years. Liz decided to check DNA results for the cadaver and then check the Navy's data bank. There was DNA, but compared to no DNA data of the billions of records compiled over the past 400 years of human history. Human DNA analysis has progressed to the point that a picture of the individual could be calculated and produce a photographic image of the person, less scars and disfigurements. But no such picture was possible using the DNA data from the dead body. I remembered Captain Stevens talking about a fictional character who could and did pass as human but was not human. He was a Kryptonian. This Kryptonian passed as a son of Earth in the guise of Clark Kent. Perhaps this individual could pass as a son of Earth as well. In the meantime, we held the power source in our shields, pinned down by our tractor beams. It was time to investigate our captives, so I asked Ryu to lead a team to investigate whatever we held in our tractor beams. Ryu, 10 of his Marines, and 10 of my security personnel teleported aboard the power source, prepared for anything they might find. They took an alternate light source with them and discovered about 60 crewmen aboard the power source, imprisoned them all except the captain. I guess captain, he seemed to be in charge. Ryu and his team, his Marines, and my security crewmen teleported to the Stingray. They brought the captain to be interrogated. I had the Nakamura sisters in the ready room when Ryu brought the individual in. We all sat, and I asked the captain who he was and what they thought they were doing moving our moons around. He remained silent. I turned to Joy. "What can you tell me, Joy?" She took her sister's hand, and the two extended their minds to the captive. They screamed and fainted. I called Liz to get the sisters and treat them. Ryu punched the captive and sent him across the room. The captive smirked and issued a string of unintelligible sounds. The computer issued a string of expletives and...
"Now, you are at my level."
Ryu turned to me and apologized.
"You hurt those girls. I cannot forgive that."
I called my security chief, who put the captive in the brig. He ensured that the cell was lit by the alternate light source to ensure no one mistakenly opened the cell. It was 10 hours before the Nakamura sisters awoke. But they revealed the truth. Their faces were etched in incredible pain.
"Captain, Admiral, these creatures are of the snake. We need to visit Tatsu."
Ryu ordered.
Mount Fujiyama! Maximum burn!
We arrived within 10 minutes, and we teleported down to the mountain. Carol and Joy touched Tatsu's paw.
Mother of dragons, please help. We have come into contact with creatures of the snake.
Tatsu paused, then.
My daughters, I have eaten the snake. You have come in contact with a very ancient evil, the evil of Satan himself. You must guard your minds with the shield of faith. Unfortunately,
She said, looking at Ryu and me.
you must not destroy them. Vengeance is of God, not us. You must imprison them.
I asked, Tatsu, is this an entire race? She replied,
No. Only a few renegades. Using stolen technology.
Ryu asked.
Why are they targeting Earth?
Tatsu replied,
Earth would be only the first. Flyzinga, the Krill homeworld, and others will become the target sometime after Earth is destroyed.
I said, Tatsu, we have killed many already. She said,
In self-defense, but captives cannot be executed unless a direct threat. Pray, my children, and fight the evil.
We returned to the Stingray and returned to move Europa and the other moons of Jupiter into their proper orbits. OB had replicated and stockpiled the parts necessary to build many engines for maneuvering moons remotely and had 6 ready at all times. I asked OB to meet me in my ready room. Robert O'Brien, you have served above and beyond the call of duty. I want you to know how much I appreciate you. Dare I say that you have exceeded even O'Reilly. We exited the ready room. Marina, shipwide, please. Now hear this, this is the captain. Commander Robert O'Brien has been promoted to the rank of captain, but he will remain the chief engineer aboard the USS Stingray. I turned to OB, congratulations, Captain. OB smiled that lopsided grin, shook my hand and everyone else on the bridge, and returned to engineering. OB, 3 engines for Europa whenever you are ready. OB replied.
Engines away.
I told LW to steer the moon back to its regular orbit. He did a masterful job and put the moon back where it belonged. Then, we had to contend with the other moons of Jupiter. One at a time. Ryu continued to guard my 6, engaging enemy ships as needed. We captured many enemy crewmen and officers, then called Admiral Marovich for disposition.
I have ordered the Enterprise and the hood to transport your traverse here to a prison we have constructed just for TRM. And I have asked the President and Congress to impanel a care mission to TRY TRM for attempting to destroy sentient life.
We had moved moons. We had discovered the enemy. We had captured the enemy. We had destroyed many enemy ships. Now, we had a moment to rest and reflect on what we had done. We refused to deceive ourselves to think we were done. I received a message from the Constitution.
We have found Ryu, Tatsu's mate. We are transporting him to Mount Fujiyama.
I yelled. Marina, shipwide! The Bradley and Constitution have found Tatsu's mate, Ryu, and are transporting him to Mount Fujiyama. Joy and Carol ran to the bridge.
Captain, that is wonderful news.
Before they could continue, I held up my hand. Yes, we will visit them. But let's let them get reacquainted first. A year or so unless we need to consult them urgently. They found Ryu in the Gavargon wormhole, 12 nanoseconds in, sleeping like a baby. Unlike any other rescue from the wormhole, our 2 captains had clues. I'm not too sure about their clues and ideas, but the outcome was just what we had prayed for. I found myself happy for Tatsu and her Ryu, and I longed for such an outcome for me and my Ryu. Ryu thought we ought to take shore leave for a couple of days. He and I had dinner in his cabin, and he planned a little entertainment as we got closer. In the middle of our date, we received a call from Admiral Marovich.
We have detected warnings from Uabors. Ganymede is moving out of orbit.
We stopped, adjusted our uniforms, and ran to our bridges. Ryu called.
Tasha! I've got your 6! Go!
I yelled! Sir. I ordered. Keel, Nick, Ganymede, SL-90. LW are the controls for the engines on Ganymede responding. He replied.
I sure hope so. But for the moment, I can't tell.
The Confederation and the Stingray arrived near Jupiter and scanned the area. Using what we knew about our past encounters with this phenomenon, we began looking for LeBam particles. We found the ship pulling the moon out of orbit. LW, can you control the engines on that moon? He smiled.
Yes, sir.
I ordered, then send that moon directly along the path it's moving now. Push it hard. I want that ship to know fear. He bent to his work, chuckling.
This is gonna be fun.
The moon began to rotate, then accelerate. While we watched, we saw the LeBam particles change course. LW, keep up with them.
Aye, sir.
He chuckled. Hunched over, concentrating on what he was doing, I heard.
I think I've got them backed up to Jupiter. It seems like they don't know what to do.
I said, all right, LW, you're our moon driver. Pull the moon up to a stop and hold that ship right there. Ryu called me.
Tasha, send me your security team. I'll board that thing and find out where they're from, or someone will regret ever messing with us.
I called Chief Donovan, 10 security crewmen to accompany Admiral Yellowtooth to board that ship. Send them to the Confederation first. Full body armor. Ryu said.
Tasha, take out their engines.
I ordered, Sue, plasma cannon, take out that ship's engines. We'll hold them with our tractor beam. Ryu called me.
We're aboard and have captured everyone here. Send OB over to remove their computer.
OB returned.
I assume you want to know where these birds are from.
I nodded, and he took Keel off to engineering. It took about 10 hours, but Keel reported success.
We found their homeworld in the astral cascade.
I sighed. That's on the other side of the galaxy. It will take 6 months to get there. I reported our findings to Admiral Marovich, and he directed us to pursue the discovery and contact the enemy's homeworld. I argued that the Stingray was the ship to remain in Sector 00 because of the moving moons. That he should send the Bradley and the Constitution to confront the enemy. However, the Admiral replied,
Captain Peel, I want you three to confront the enemy. Leave the moons to Stochka.
He had been speaking to Larry, David, and me. We considered whether to use one of the wormholes or not. The Gavargon wormhole or the Southern wormhole. The Gavargon wormhole would take us within 100,000 light years of our target, and the Southern wormhole would take us within 75 light years. The Southern wormhole it is. David reminded us of the dolphin race and the fact that they owed us because of the AC-3 cure. Reaching the Southern wormhole would take 10 days at maximum burn, so off they went. Admiral Yellowtooth accompanied us, as did the Archon ship, the Alpha one. David chided the Admiral with a chuckle.
Admiral, no stopping in the middle of the wormhole.
Ryu replied.
Aye, Commodore.
16 nanoseconds later, we popped out of the wormhole to face the Dolphin People. The commander of the Dolphin People's fleet greeted us.
Captain Stevens, so good to see you. Where are you headed this time?
David replied.
To a star cluster we call the Astral Cascade, about 75 light years from here.
The Dolphin commander replied.
To the planet of the Syraculians people. Take care, they are a vicious race, they have destroyed many civilizations and continue to do so. That is the reason we guard the wormhole and our borders.
The Admiral said.
That is the very reason we will visit them. They're trying to bombard the Earth with the moons of the other planets in the system.
The Dolphin commander replied.
What are your plans?
I replied, we'll just have to wait and see the situation. The commander said,
We wish you a safe journey. And Captain Stevens, thank you for the AC-3 cure. It saved my daughter. And many others. Go in peace, my friends.
We all chanted, calm seas and fair winds. And we departed. We had to continue at UL-12 due to the top speed of the Archon and Flyzing ships, and we would be traveling for a little over another 3 months. I ordered yellow alert status to be maintained at all times. David, Larry, and Rio did so as well. I had yet to learn of the status of the Archon ship. Mabel continually monitored for the Lebam particles along with the standard issues dictated by the yellow status of the ship. I ordered: Number 1, I want the duty period for the sensor lab to be reduced to 4 hours in 20. Tap other sections for personnel to man the lab. Sue replied,
Aye, sir.
And she began to touch bases with the other section chiefs. At one time, we had 3 astrophysicists on duty in the sensor lab simultaneously. They were surprised that the sensor lab allowed them closer study of space around the ship. As they scanned the area, looking for objects of interest, one jumped up, shouting,
Captain, there's a huge cluster of Mabel particles 47 degrees starboard, about 1,000 kilometers.
I shouted,
Red alert, battle stations! All sections report!
I called our other ships. Cloaked ships 1,000 kilometers 47 degrees to the starboard. Red alert. We went all stop, turned 47 degrees starboard, and waited. Marina said,
Captain, we're being hailed!
On screen.
Unknown ships, this is Admiral Johnny Kesley of the Zyrokulians people. Prepare to be boarded.
Rio replied,
Fat chance. Stand and fight. Shields, weapons, battle stations.
And we waited. The cluster of Lebam particles split, and we saw them maneuvering to outflank us. But Rio ordered each ship a sector to guard. In my mind, I saw a group of gunfighters standing back to back to fend off attackers from any direction. Number 1, a shot across the bow of that ship coming toward our 12.
Sue pulled the trigger, and that ship stopped. As a matter of fact, all the Lebam particle clusters came to an abrupt halt. Suddenly, the clusters turned tail and ran. Ryu said, rather disappointedly,
Tasha, I really wanted to fight those Zyrokulians.
I smiled. I know my Anhata. We will have our chance. We don't need to fight cowards. Well, we pressed on to find the Zyrokulians' home world. Still, 2.5 months to drive to find their home world. We began to see ghosts on our sensors periodically. I thought and remembered when the Constitution was dogged by Armin Sigmatag and Admiral Halloran run him down, only to find a friend and ally. So, I ordered the sensor lab to alert the bridge, speed, distance, and direction the next time this ghost appeared. I ordered that we run down our ghost, shields, weapons hot, plasma cannons on the firing line. The sensor lab shot an alert to the bridge at 1300 the next day. Keel, Nick, let's chase down our ghost. Elated, they began to run down our Phantom, UL maximum burn. Sensors extended to the maximum effective range, and we saw a ship of a startling design, like the flying saucers of the 20th and 21st centuries. Number 1, a shot across the bow, if you please. That brought the ship to a stop. Marina said,
Captain, we're being hailed.
On screen. We next saw right out of those 2 centuries-old science fiction books, gray skin, huge eyes, scrawny limbs, and a face out of a nightmare.
What is the purpose of accosting this ship?
I replied,
You've been dogging our steps for days out of sensor range. Who are you, and why are you following us?
I waited for an answer, and the saucer began to move away. Sue, another shot across their bow. And they stopped. The thing on our monitor said,
I will call my fleet.
And I replied, Go ahead. And I'll call my fleet. We have ships more powerful than anything you have ever seen. I told the alien he should teleport to my ship, and we could speak face to face. This was not too thrilling to him, so I offered to teleport to his ship. This seemed to please him. Number 1, you're with me. Nick, you have the con. Security, I want 4 of your biggest crewmen to accompany us to the alien ship. Full gear. Marina, apprise the fleet of our present status. We teleported aboard the alien ship, having to watch our heads. The beings in the teleporter room aboard it gawked wide-eyed at us as we towered over them by at least a foot. One stepped forward.
I'm Captain Jelly Roll of the Purple People Eater Society. Please follow me.
We were led to a conference room and given seats. I said, Captain, I am Captain Tasha Peel of the USS Stingray of the United System Federation Navy. We are attempting to find the homeworld of a people attempting to destroy our world. Now, what's your story? He asked.
Captain, do you recognize us?
Captain, you are the substance of the nightmares of my world's time, 500 of our world's years in the past. He said,
You are human beings from a planet you called Earth, found in what you call the solar system. We call your system the Aurora Prime system. We call your planet Aurora 3.
That's all well and good, but why are you dogging our steps? He shrugged his shoulders.
Curiosity. We once visited your planet often, assessing your advancement and checking out your people. But we have not visited once you became a recognizable force in space. That's over 300 of your years.
Why? He laughed.
Curiosity. We are explorers. We search for new knowledge. Your people fascinated us. Your curiosity was more extraordinary than our own, and your courage, your strength, your compassion, your brutality, the very great range of your body coloring, and resilience. That we are sitting and discussing this topic is because you ran us down, and not the other way around, speaks of a fascinating race.
I stopped that discussion. Captain, can you tell us about the Zyrokulians race? He replied,
You would be better off to forget your quest. The Zyrokulians are vicious, wanting to eliminate every race but their own. We are on constant alert for their ships. They have developed a cloaking device that makes it impossible to detect them.
I confided. I know, but we have discovered a means to detect their presence. He asked,
Would you share that knowledge with me?
I conferred with Susan, and we decided that we should make the detection method common knowledge among all races. We gave him the secret of the Lebem particle clusters. Captain, this is for you to share with every race you come into contact with. We cannot allow the Zyrokulians to terrorize the universe. The captain asked me one more question.
What is the significance of the name of these particles?
Laughing, I answered. It is the name of my officer who discovered the particles spelled backward, Mabel. And we all had a good laugh.